LSU wallops Missouri 12-5. The Tigers start conference play 1-0. We're recapping the win and taking your interaction. It's Locked on LSU. Let's go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you for that. LSU beats Missouri 12-5. The Tigers start 1-0 in SEC play. Kade Anderson dazzled through 6 1/3. The Tiger bats came alive with some big blasts, and LSU beats Missouri to move to 1-0 in conference play, the exact start they needed, although a little shaky outing from the bullpen, which is something a lot of you have asked about. And some of the things that have been a concern for this bullpen did show up today, but we'll get to that. So if you're new, thank you for being there. As a reminder, I'll give you, we're going live when LSU baseball goes final here on the Locked on LSU YouTube channel. Games go final all year long. Boom. We'll be live here, immediate reaction, and your reaction as well, questions, comments. So please drop those in. I'll talk for about 10 minutes or so, give you my takeaways from the game, break, come back, then it's all you, your questions and comments. So please drop those in, and we'll get to those in just a quick second. So let's start with Kade Anderson. Probably no better place to start than with the starting pitcher in this game. Kade Anderson's final line, if you get this on Fridays from Kade Anderson, you're going to be in position to win the SEC, and you'll be a national seed. Kade Anderson pitched into the 7th inning. He went 6 1/3. Allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, struck out 11. He did walk 2. I can live with that. The 3rd run came after, in the 7th, Anderson allowed a couple of guys to get on base. He was pulled, and then a sac fly with the bases loaded is when that 3rd run scored after Connor Benj had come into the ballgame. But all things considered, he allowed a homer, a double, and that was all in the 2nd inning when he allowed those 2 runs. Other than that, he was just about flawless. And maybe the best part was his efficiency. So I mentioned that 2nd inning where he allowed the 2 runs on 2 hits, the double and the homer. But he needed 19 pitches to get through that 2nd inning. And that was a bugaboo. But other than that 2nd inning, you were talking about efficiency. Kade Anderson was just a hair over 80 pitches. He was at 83 pitches through 6 innings. Remember, average, you want to be 12 to 15 pitches per inning. So, at the lower end of that number, you'd be at 84. So he was actually below that pace, even with a 19-pitch 2nd inning. It wasn't just that Kade Anderson was effective. He was efficient and got you into the ball, deep into the ball game into the 7th, which in theory would allow you to save your arms. Now, the Tigers did have to use 3 bullpen arms in this game, Benj, Primo, and Zach Cowan. However, none of them threw more than 20 pitches, so all of them would be available even tomorrow if you need them. Again, I'll get to that in just a second. But I thought the issue with Anderson early was he was struggling with his command. And for a guy that sometimes can't overpower you but does have a 4-pitch mix, the command has to be there. And in that 2nd inning, it wasn't, which is when he got in trouble, and he allowed the base hit and then the 2-run homer to get down 2-0. But after that, he found it, settled in, and was awesome. It was good to see him still sitting 92, 93, even in the 7th as he was approaching 100 pitches. So for the day, Kade Anderson finished with a total pitch count of 95. So I believe last week he was at 93 or 94 pitches. So 95 pitches, again, 6 1/3 of 4-hit, 3-run ball. You're going to win a lot of Fridays whenever Kade Anderson gives you a day like that. Now, Kade Anderson handed the ball off in the 7th to Connor Benj, and Connor Benj is the one that ran into a little bit of trouble. And this is the one thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on throughout this weekend as we move forward. So after Anderson goes strikeout, walk, single, so 1 out, Benj comes in with 2 on, 1st and 3rd. The first hitter, he walks on 4 pitches to load the bases. Then he gives up the sac fly and gets a strikeout. Now, the bases loaded walk, the walk to load the bases didn't hurt you because on the single, the runner went to third. It was a little flare to center. The runner from at first never slowed, so got all the way to third. It was just heads up base running there by Lovich. But in any event, it was nice to see Benj get out of that. But coming back in the in the eighth, when Benj went back out there, this is where you ran into trouble. Leadoff homer, Cerna homered. So back-to-back homers like that off the bench, and all of a sudden he's out of the ballgame. And it was Primo who came in there, and Primo gets strikeout, ground out, strikeout, ground out to get 2 outs. Then Zach Cowan came in, got a strikeout to get you out of the eighth, and then Cowan pitched a really effective ninth inning. You could see why that changeup makes him so effective. He got him up and down in order in the ninth. Pop out, ground out, strikeout to end it. So Cowan was awesome. It was Benj with the walk and the 2 solo homers that was a little uneasy. It's the thing we've talked about with this Missouri team. They're a terrible fielding team, which you saw in this ballgame. They only had 1 error, but even in the eighth inning, you saw a ground ball to first. The first baseman couldn't pick it. It went over his head. There was the fly ball into left field, which the left fielder never saw. It landed for what ended up being a double, and then a pop foul as well, which the third baseman couldn't see, and that landed as well. So the point being, this is a bad defensive Missouri team. They're dead last in the SEC in fielding percentage. They're dead last in the SEC in staff ERA, which is why LSU in this ball game was able to put up 12 runs on 9 hits in this game. And it's evidence of how the day went. Missouri walked 3. They hit 5. They gave you 8 base runners there alone. That's not even counting what I just talked about. The fly ball to the left that the left fielder didn't see. The grounder to first that kind of took a weird hop, went over the first baseman's head. I mean, LSU, got going in that second inning a little bit with an error on Missouri, which kind of allowed LSU to get the wheels in motion. So all things considered, you did what you had to do to beat a bad baseball team, start 1-0 in conference play. A couple of notes offensively. Hernandez, the home run in the second. Love to see Hernandez kind of coming into his own. He looks like he's settling in, and playing every day is a big part of that for him. In that second inning, after they homered to go up 2-0, Pearson gets hit by a pitch, and then Hernandez homered. So just like that, you get those 2 runs back, you're even. And then the fourth inning was the big 5-run inning for the Tigers when Curiel hit the bases loaded triple. So Pearson singled, Braswell was hit by a pitch, and Stanfield walked. Again, like we talked about, a team that gives you a lot of base runners. They hit you, walked a guy, bases loaded, then Curiel with the triple to right field was just awesome. His ability to use all fields with power, hit for average, just so fun to watch him go. Dickinson had an RBI ground out, and then a Brown single to right field when he pinch hit for Ethan Fry when Missouri went to the righty. So Hernandez, the big homer, Curiel, the bases loaded triple, and those big spots with ducks on the pond, you came through. And then Milam, of course, homered in the eighth. He just missed a home run, by the way, in the bottom of the sixth, too. He turned to one from the left side, crushed it. It just died in the warning track with the wind blowing to left. But the other thing worth noting is Jake Brown. Jake Brown didn't start today. And this is one of those things where I think Jay Johnson has said and tried to commit to playing Brown, Pearson, and Fry. And so today was a day where in game 1, Missouri started a lefty. So Ethan Fry, a righty, DH'd. Okay, you wanted to get a right-handed bat in the lineup? Cool. Same with Braswell playing at third. Got another right-handed bat in the lineup. Well, they put Pearson in left because no doubt it's also one of those things where in the first conference game, I think Jay wanted to put some experience in the field. That's why you had Pearson and Braswell, Hernandez all in the game. Well, Jake Brown comes into the ball game and goes 2 for 2. He had a sacrifice fly to get the final run home for you in the eighth. I'm looking for his final. So he was 2 for 2 with 4 RBI, a double, and a sac fly. Like, he didn't even start, and he contributed 4 RBI. Jake Brown is a 5-tool player. He's one of the best players on the team. It is my contention that Jake Brown needs to be in the starting lineup every day. And this is one of the things that Jay Johnson is going to have to deal with. It is the catch-22 of recruiting the way they did, signing as many guys as they did in the portal and as many elite players coming out of high school that they did. You have a deep, talented roster. And so you feel like you got to keep a lot of guys happy. And there is no doubt that is playing a factor in this team right now for Jay Johnson. You feel like you got to keep a lot of guys happy. And when you've got Brown and Fry and Pearson all capable, what do? Well, they like this. I get it. They're starting a lefty. Yeah, let's get Pearson in the outfield, a veteran guy. You put Fry at DH to get another right-handed bat in the lineup. And then Brown, when they went to the righty out of the bullpen, Brown went in. Well, Brown goes in and he bangs a double off the left field wall and then hits a beautiful sac fly late, and he also had an RBI, also had a single. So Jake Brown, there's no justification for taking him out. He's your best defensive right fielder. He's a center fielder playing in right field because you got Stanfield, who's also a center fielder. By the way, you got Curiel in left, who's also a center fielder. That's your best defensive outfield. And by the way, I think it's your best offensive outfield as well. So I don't know how long we're going to see this rotation. Maybe it is something that lasts all year and Jay continues to mix and match, try to keep all these guys happy. But I think it's also something to say when you look at it and you go, why is Jake Brown on the bench? Jake Brown needs to be in the lineup every single day. Like Derek Curiel in left, Jake Brown needs to be in right field every single day. But maybe you want to find a Tuesday against Nichols where you give Josh Pearson a start in the outfield because he's a senior. You want to let him get in the field. Okay, I can live with that. Conference play, you got to have Jake Brown in the lineup every day. All right, my take. Let's get to yours. Quick break. Come back. Your takeaway. LSU beats Missouri 12-5. If you're live with us on YouTube, 142 live right now. Thank you so much. Please smash that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do that. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video or go live. We're continuing with your questions and comments. So drop them in right now. Your questions and comments are next. Locked on LSU, your team every day. We are all about the stats because numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear, wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, the Armada PRO-4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada PRO-4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. We're also brought to you by Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When you start using Monarch, you'll realize just how much you're spending on things like food delivery. Now you can budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Okay, let's get to you. Drop your comments in, your takeaways from LSU's 12-5 win over Missouri. We'll go live with it. Brant, did LSU burn through some arms they didn't intend to? That is a really good question. I think ideally they would have gotten home with Connor Benj. But Benj gave up the back-to-back home runs. All of a sudden, it's a 4-run game, and Jay had to go to the bullpen. Remember, the general rule is when it's 4, you're still a swing away from being tied. When you get beyond 4, you feel like a lot of coaches feel like they can run anybody out. But when it gets inside of 4 runs, you got to start to play matchups, and that's what they did. So they went to the lefty. Primo got a couple outs, brought in Zach Cowan to finish the 8th, and then he pitched the 9th as well. Ideally, you would not have had to use Zach Cowan. However, the best guy in your bullpen is Kade Anderson, and you didn't have to use him. So if you end up in a spot Saturday or Sunday where you're in a tight ball game, you can go to Kade Anderson in a leverage spot. That's, I think, the most important arm that you preserve this weekend. Let's be clear. all of those guys that threw today, Benj, Primo, Cowan, could all pitch on Saturday. And certainly if they don't pitch Saturday, could come back and pitch Sunday. You still have Case and Evans. You have William Schmidt available to you as well. There are no shortage of arms in that bullpen for LSU. And if the Tiger bats keep going like this, you'll probably have an opportunity to get some younger guys their experience as well. Some SEC, first taste of SEC experience. Guys like Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, Grant Fontenot, who no doubt they want to get out there this weekend. Who dat Tyga, thanks for being there. Scott Beckham, thanks for being there. Gorilla. Hey, Thomas, good evening. Thanks for being there. Monty said Anderson is a dude. He was today. And you know what? I'll tell you, we were having this conversation. I was live on air for radio watching the game, and Ryan Terrio was in studio, and Matt Musso, who does a great job with his show, Musso at the Box. Shout out. We were talking about Anderson because in the second inning, it's when he gave up the base hit and then the homer. And he was not efficient with his pitches. He needed 19 pitches to get through that second inning. And it brought up the point. So, look, I think Anderson's great. He's dotting mid-90s. He's got 4 pitches he can use that he can command. And he's been really good up to this point. But a year ago, Anderson was awesome in pre-conference and then had a 27 ERA in SEC play. He's been really good this year in pre-conference. Can he get SEC hitters out? Well, this was amazing to get into the 7th inning, to go 6 1/3, 11 strikeouts, just 2 walks. He was really good. And listen, I know Missouri is not a good team, but Missouri as a team has a cumulative batting average of .301 and has hit 17 homers in 16 games coming into this ballgame. They hit 3 homers in this ballgame against LSU. So that's a team that while they can't field it, they can't pitch it, they can swing it. And Anderson did a great job on Friday. Rocky Cowan is such a good pitcher. Filthy changeup, great way to start SEC play. Rocky, I think Zach Cowan is such a luxury for this team. I mean, that was the Friday night guy at Wofford, and we heard about it all last year at the regional leading up to it, was that his changeup was a devastating pitch. So when LSU signed Zach Cowan, it was going to be interesting to see if he worked his way into the rotation. But that's a guy who can extend for you because he was the Friday night guy for Wofford last year. If he's a mid-relief guy for you, or today, he finished the game, he can extend for you, which is phenomenal. Captain Eli, why did Missouri copy our logo on their hats? Well, that Sailor Tiger logo, I actually know the answer to this. It was in a clip art book. So LSU, Missouri, Auburn, lots of teams. Michigan has a variation of it as well with a Wolverine. A lot of teams use that logo because nobody owns the license to that logo, so anybody can use it. Actually, it's why LSU doesn't use it on any of their licensed stuff, because it can be replicated. It's why LSU's created its own font, its own logos and all. That's why they use their own stuff, because they have it trademarked. Now you know the rest of the story. Jason H., Gorilla. My dad's watching. Hey, Dad, how are you? Slabs, wind was kicking when Benj came in. And you know what? What's true about that is the wind was blowing to left. So both home runs went out to left, but it's also worth pointing out this. Jake Brown came in, doubled off the wall to left. Right-handed hitter went the opposite way. Very, very smart AB there by Jake Brown. But then Stephen Milam in the 6th and the 8th, in the 6th, from both from the left side, he turned on one to right field, died on the track. And then in the 8th, the one that got out barely got out, even though, he murdered both of those baseballs. But it goes to show you that wind was a problem, was affecting the baseball when it got into the air. Hey, Michael Boudreaux said, good win. Thanks for the recap. Thank you for being here. I'm only doing these recaps because y'all are here and hang out. So thank you for that. Raymond, Curiel's first at bat was a perfect start. Made the opposing pitcher show a lot of his stuff early. Great point. What you want from a leadoff hitter, and my buddy Brian Terrio, of course, who comes on radio with me on Fridays, has said this for you. He trained me this way 15 years ago, whenever we started doing radio. Said, what you want from a leadoff hitter is to make the starting pitcher throw every single pitch he has. Make him work so everybody in the dugout can see every pitch that guy has in his arsenal. And that was I think, let me make sure I got it. I'm almost positive Curiel led off the game with a 9-pitch at-bat. Let me make sure I got this right. I just want to count it. He went strike, ball, foul, foul, and then pop up. 9-pitch at-bat. Started looking at 2 pitches, took a ball, fouled one off, took another ball, then fouled off 3 straight pitches before popping out. He popped out, and that stinks, but he made the starter Los throw 9 pitches to start the game. That'll frustrate a pitcher. That'll tire a pitcher, and it benefits your hitters by making him show everything he's got. So, yes, good point by you. Great AB to start the game by Derek Curiel, who's just so impressive. Hey, Greg, thanks for being there. Trivia Carter, thanks for being there. Michael, thanks. Thanks for the recap. Good job, Anderson. Great start. Go Tigers. Tiger Diver didn't have to burn that many arms. Yes, another big benefit of having a big lead. And that's why I would say don't sleep on the fact that LSU was able to go add the run in the 7th and then the 2 in the 8th. Because, forgive me, when Missouri scored 1 in the 7th and then 2 in the 8th, the fact that you were able to come back with the 3 spot in the bottom of the 8th was significant. Now, you put Cowan out there to finish it, but the point is you didn't have, none of the relievers from this weekend would be burned for tomorrow, for the weekend, or for tomorrow. So Benj threw 16 pitches, Primo threw 13, and then Cowan threw 17. So I'm looking at the box score. So Benj faced 5 hitters, Primo faced just the 2, and then Cowan faced the minimum. He faced the 4 and struck out 2. So very efficient by those guys. Just the walk and the back-to-back homers by Benj was the one thing that makes you a little leery. Hey, Guy Brooks, Anderson was great. Get the win. Thanks for the recap. We appreciate it. The Dexar, thanks for being there. Guy Brooks, believe we have our closer in Cowan. Guy Brooks, I could not disagree with you more. I do not think Zach Cowan is the closer. I don't think that is anywhere near his most effective role on this team. I think you have any number of guys who could fall into that role. I think this was a game where you're up 12-5 and you didn't want to use a high leverage arm. I think Zach Cowan is going to pitch some incredibly important innings for this team this year. But I think his role as a guy that was a Friday night guy before is going to be an extended relief guy if you need him over the course of a weekend. This just happened to be a situation where Kason Evans, who is right now your closer until Gavin Guidry comes back, and may still hold that role whenever Guidry does come back. You were up 5 before and then 7 as it ended. You didn't need to go run Kason Evans out there with that lead. If it was 5-4 going into the 9th, Kason Evans is getting the ball right there to get those final 3 outs. But Zach Cowan is not your closer, and he will not be your closer this year. Connor O'Neill, thanks for being there. Michael Ingram. By the way, I know y'all are putting Cohen, C-O-H-N. I'll tell you, it's Cowan, C-O-W-A-N. And I did ask Zach specifically how to pronounce his name. And he told me, this was from the horse's mouth. He told me it's Cowan. So if anybody asks or wonders, Zach Cowan. From Zach. He told me personally, Zach Cowan. Wonder if Cowan could be the Sunday guy if something changes with Shores. He could be, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility. It sure seems like they're very comfortable with him being a long relief guy out of the bullpen. William Schmidt would probably be next up, which is a change because I would have told you for certain Connor Ware would have been that guy. Left-handed arm, coming in from JUCO, and they loved him. The last 2 outings, he has really struggled mightily. But Connor Ware, I would say, and William Schmidt would both be very likely opportunities to start. If you couldn't find that guy and you felt like you desperately needed a number 3, you could put Zach Cowan there. But the fact that he has the ability out of the bullpen to affect multiple games in the weekend is probably a higher and best use of his skill set. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel zero anxiety when balls are hit to Milam? It's funny how he made a beautiful play, too, in the 6th. A chopper that had a backhand deep in the hole and made an amazingly accurate throw. He even had a little bit of a heart palpitation play in the 9th on a pop fly into shallow left where he called everybody off, ended up having to drift back, and he basket caught it. But it's funny that that was a question before the season. Could Milam move to the left side? Would he play short or third? He and Braswell are both playing over there in fall. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, he's phenomenal. Stephen Milam is just a dog. He's phenomenal. Hey, Christopher, great show. Glad they switched out Fry for Brown. Should they start him? Appreciate it. Yeah, talked about that just a little bit ago. Ethan Fry was your starting DH in this ball game because Missouri started a lefty. They wanted a right-handed bat in the lineup. Look, Missouri's 3 starting pitchers this weekend are all left-handed pitchers. So it's a real question. Does Jay try to stack the lineup with righties, which would mean Braswell at third, Ethan Fry either in right or DHing? My contention is Jake Brown's shown you. He can hit lefties, he can righties. I think he needs to be in the lineup every day. We'll see what they elect to do. But I would start Jake Brown, yes. Justin Dugas, everydayer. Great content. Thank you so much. We always appreciate our everydayers. Hey, John Patrick Terrio. Curiel always seems to put together great ABs, no matter if they end up in outs or not. He never gets cheated. He is when you talk about a toolsy player, you talk about the 5 tools, right? You talk about glove, arm, speed, hit for average, hit for power. And the last tool to come always is the ability to hit for power. The other 4 are already there, and I think he's got a little pop in his bat. Curiel showed up on campus, I was told, about in the 160 range. So throughout fall and winter, he worked very hard to gain weight, and they have him listed right now at, forgive me, I'm looking exactly what they have him listed at. He is listed at 182. So he's put on about 15 to 20 pounds since he showed up on campus. And I think having a little more junk in the trunk, so to speak, has probably added a little more pop. Yes, he has mature at bats. He's never overrun by the situation. We talked about his first AB of the game. He got down 0-2 to start and ended up being a 9-pitch at bat. He ended up popping out, but he battled back to a 9-pitch at bat. He's just great. Josh Smith was great like this. Shout out Kalakai. But Josh Smith was great because Josh Smith was unafraid of hitting with 2 strikes. It made him an amazing leadoff hitter. Josh Smith would almost sit there and take until he had 2 strikes. Then he'd start battling, fouling off pitches, just pestering a pitcher, and then dump a single somewhere, take a walk. He was just great. I think Curiel is very similar in that respect. John Olds, agree about Brown. He delivers. Justin, what do you want to see the rest of the weekend? Well, number one, first and foremost, I want to see both starters extend like Kade Anderson did. I want to see Einstein and Shores both get you into the 6th inning at least, because that's just going to be paramount. You've got to be able to preserve your bullpen. For those who have questions about the bullpen, you want to get in trouble, burn your best arms in the bullpen and have to rely on some of the young guys, Rizzi, Cooper Williams, Grant Fontenot, have to rely on those guys. That's when you get into a little bit of a tough spot. So that's definitely what I want to see. And then I'm very curious to see what they do at third. Braswell walked, was hit by pitch. We got on base a couple times, but he also had a pretty awful strikeout, a 3-pitch strikeout where they went away, inside, and then caught him looking at a pitch where he was thinking off speed, fastball at the knees came, and he was just frozen. It was not a great AB. Do they give Tanner Reeves a shot at third base this week? That'd be the other thing I want to see. Matthew Mitchell, think Jay feels like the portal requires him to try to keep guys happy? Yes, I do. I don't think he would ever admit that, but I do. And I'll tell you, Matthew Mitchell, this is a little bigger picture question or comment probably for the offseason. I think you really have to think of it in these terms moving forward as you construct your roster. Do you want to go add 10 guys in the portal that are all good players? Or do you want to go add 4 guys in the portal that are massively impact guys? Like, look at Tennessee with Liam Doyle. They bring him in from Ole Miss. He is a straight dude, probably the best pitcher in the country. That's a difference maker on your team. I think that's a question Jay is probably, like we talk so much about Brian Kelly, his evolution and how he's recruited the portal. The same is certainly going to be true as well in baseball. And I think that's something worth keeping an eye on. Jason, could you see Cowan, Cowan, by the way, guys, Cowan jumping into the starter role? We talked about that a little bit ago. Probably not. But if you get into a bind, yes, I just think his value is being able to impact multiple games on the weekend. Thomas, Matt, I thought Anderson looked comfortable and effective. Jones looked like he pressed a bit and chasing some pitches. Happens. Sean, I agree with you, by the way, on both counts. Sean, Johnette lives in my neighborhood. Go Tigers, get the brooms out. John Ed is the GM at Delta Media in Lafayette, who's awesome. Any word on Gavin Guidry? Gavin was right there on the top step of the dugout. If you're watching the game, I was told back injury for Gavin Guidry that he's battling through, and I know Jay wants to get him back as soon as he can, but there's no need to rush it. You know what you have in Gavin Guidry. Just get him healthy and ready to roll. Jake, why does baseball have their own logo? Curious about the history of it. It's a great question. I don't know, but I love it. The interlocking stair step to LSU, I think is phenomenal. I love the baseball logo. Thaddeus, go Tigers, Matt. Keep doing these recaps. Think they're awesome. Yeah, if you're just joining us live, we're up to 194 watching us live. Thank y'all so much for being here. Seriously, I'm doing these because y'all are here. If y'all weren't here, I wouldn't be doing them. So if you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever we go live here. And we'll be live after each game. I'll be here tomorrow night when LSU on Saturday night when Game 2 finishes, we'll be live. And then Sunday afternoon when Game 3 finishes, we'll be live. So thank you for being there with us. Christopher, was that their best pitcher? Yes, it was. They're the worst pitching staff in the SEC. They have a staff ERA combined north of 6. They're not very good. Colin, I wish they would give John Pearson some time at third base. Colin, I would really like to see that. I don't think you're going to see it necessarily a start in SEC play, but I do think for a guy that in pinch hit opportunities has hit 500, I would like to see John Pearson get an opportunity to start at third base, get 4 at-bats in the game, and see how that looks. But realistically, Tanner Reeves is the highest ceiling guy you have at third. Braswell's the guy that's the really experienced player. John Pearson is probably going to be just a pinch hit right-handed bat for you that you know you can count on to give you a quality AB off the bench. That's probably what he'll be this year. Let's see. Rick, let's take it all. This year the Tigers roll. Jake, thanks for the recaps. My pleasure. That's going to be a lot of dinner dates you're going to miss. I'm okay, man. I'm happy to sit here and talk about baseball. So thank y'all for being here with us. Let's see. Seems like our defense is better than last year. How do we compare to the past 3 years? Well, if you remember, Jay Johnson's first team here defensively was pretty poor. Now, the second team that he had, which won the national championship, was outstanding. This year, I think defensively, this is the best outfield I have seen since the Fraley, Stevenson, Laird outfield, which I think is the best outfield I've ever seen defensively that I've ever seen at LSU. Fraley and Stevenson obviously are both big leaguers, and Laird, who never was a big leaguer, was an elite, had elite speed and an elite glove. So defensively, Mark Laird was outstanding. That was a year where you had 3 center fielders, elite center fielders, spread across your outfield, and everybody caught everything. I think this is the best outfield since then when you go Curiel, Stanfield, Jake Brown. Now you had Pearson in right today, but when you go Curiel, Stanfield, Brown, left to right, that's your best defensive outfield that I've seen since that one I just mentioned. Milam out at short is terrific. You've got a little bit of a rotation at third base. The right side of your infield is fine with Jones and Dickinson. Catcher is a problem. I think Hernandez has improved tremendously, and it's probably playing every day, seeing his name written on the lineup card every day is making him a little more comfortable. And remember, he didn't catch last year. He was primarily a DH at Indiana State when he had 23 bombs. So he's got more on his shoulders. But that would be the one spot where I go, you would still love to see some improvement. Let's see, Molina, how do you think LSU looks versus Tennessee early in the season? I shared this story earlier in the week, but a buddy of mine who's a longtime Major League scout called me on Monday, and it was Monday night. And I said, "Hey, what's up, man?" He said, "Well, I was in Knoxville this weekend." I went, "Oh, that's happened." He said, "They're just different. They got 5 guys that throw 100, and they just look different." But the Tennessee team in 2022 had the best college baseball season we've literally ever seen, and they lost a home super regional to Notre Dame. So baseball's a funny game. I think Tennessee's great. I think LSU's great. I think both are capable of winning a championship. Hey, Chef, problem is you don't know if they'll fold in the box. Not sure who you were talking about. Apologies. Justin, sipping on what to celebrate the win? Well, to be candid, I have a Bud Light right here that I was sipping on during the game. But maybe I'll crack a whiskey tonight as well. I do have a full Locked On episode that'll be coming for Saturday morning as well. So we're not done here. So make sure you're subscribed. Sean, Guinness to sell. Hey, man, if I'm going beer, go with my people at Bud Light. Hey, Mark Rogers, what do you think about the Tigers' recent trend with runners in scoring position? No, they struggled earlier this year. They didn't struggle tonight with runners in scoring position. LSU left just 6 on base, and they were pretty outstanding in this ballgame tonight. So I think early in the year, there were a few instances where they left the bases loaded. There was one game where Stanfield came up twice with the bases loaded and struck out. But listen, man, if you tell me you're going to put up 12 runs on just 9 hits, that's more than efficient enough. Bobby Boucher's lawnmower. Let's see. Laird was the lead in the outfield, one of the prettiest backside swings as well. He just didn't have power, right? Laird didn't have a great arm, and he didn't have power. So when you talk about tools that project to the big league level, like we just said, it's glove, speed, arm, hit for average, hit for power. Laird had elite speed, elite glove. He could hit for average, but he couldn't hit for power, and he didn't have a great arm. And that there's always things like that that are going to cap a guy's potential. That's why when we talk about Derek Curiel, he's a 5-tool guy. That when the power stroke comes. That's why when we talk about Kade Anderson, that's why the scouts are so high on Kade Anderson. He's just got to develop and mature a little bit more. Okay, how about this last one? Dismount with Angela. Gymnastics pun. Gymnastics team's doing well. Let's wrap this thing up because I want to go watch the gym meet too. Love the gymnastics squad. Jay Clark's team has a great chance to win back-to-back national championship. Last week, they recorded the highest score in the history of the LSU gymnastics program, so good luck to them. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Y'all do me a favor. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching with us live here, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. If you're listening or watching on demand, big shout out to you. We appreciate you for being there as well. But just remember, after every LSU game, when they finish the game, boom, we're live here on the Locked On LSU YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed on YouTube yet, get subscribed and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a video and go live. Until next time, y'all, that'll do it for us here. It's Locked On LSU, your team every day.